Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. We come to you early today on a Thanksgiving Monday here in Canada. I know a lot of our American viewers and listeners are going like, what the hell's going on? Why are they talking Thanksgiving in October? But we celebrated a little early. I guess probably our harvest was sooner, and we wanted to get together with the big turkey dinner a little bit spaced out from Christmas. So we're having our long weekend this weekend. I probably won't be having turkey this year, unfortunately, but I'm sure you will. Have you already had some turkey, Jason?
Yes, had turkey on Saturday, which was awesome, and I'm about to have more today, which has necessitated us doing this earlier today.
Yeah, nice. Do you have your Tupperware all stacked up right by the front door, ready to go?
Yes, it is by the front door. It was the first thing I put there this morning. Can't forget it.
Nice. Well, this is kind of a historic day. We are going to be reunited on the job site tomorrow. First time in a few years. Looking back on many years, this is going to be great. I've been super anticipating this moment, and we're finally going to be reunited, not only during the week, but we get to be working together a full 60 hours a week now going forward. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It has been a long time since we partnered up, and since now that we're doing this again, and I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, well, we love talking sports, and when I decided I wanted to do a podcast, I thought you were the perfect guy to bring on, because when we start talking sports, we could talk about it all day, all week, all month. So we're always having fun talking sports. I can't wait to start seeing you face to face, not having to just text with you all through the week. We get to do this. It's going to be great. And it's such an amazing team that I'm part of. It sort of brought me out of semi-retirement, let's say, going back and working with this team. I'm glad you're joining us, because you've worked with pretty much all of these guys as well. And I know that's the main reason you're coming.
Yeah. Those guys are great. I consider that my crew, my team, and obviously I'm glad to have you guys aboard and have you aboard. It's going to be a good season. It's going to be a really good season.
Yeah, no, it's going to be super fun. We've already had lots of great days, lots of laughs, hard work, but it feels great when you look around at all the people that you're working with, and they're all your friends. And it's so nice that we can sort of combine teams. Our team has been sort of on hiatus a little bit, and we were kind of pushed apart to many other productions, but it's nice that a few of us can be put back together and working with your team. This is like a super team. If look out, nobody else is going to be able to compete with the talent level of this team.
Yes, we do actually have a very talented bunch, for sure. And now that I'm there, now that I'm coming, it's just that much more talented. It's just the icing on the cake.
Nice. Good point. Okay, well, cool. Yeah. So I know you have a lunch to go to, or a early dinner to go to out in Abbotsford today. So we'll get at this and send you on your way. You lucky dog. All our family, all my family and girlfriend Lorraine's family are out of town. So no turkey for us from the family. So I guess feel a little extra sad when you're chomping down tonight on your second turkey dinner of the weekend.
I'll try. I'll probably forget after the first bite, but I'll try.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Good. Okay. Well, lots to talk about this weekend. Week 5 in the NFL. Man, a ton of amazing games and a lot to shake down. We got a Monday nighter tonight between the Baltimore Ravens and the Indy Colts. Ravens coming in at 3-1, and Colts coming in at 1-3. Some people are calling for the Colts to win this game. I'm quite surprised. I think this should be Baltimore's quite easily.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Lamar Jackson, Action Jackson back there in the backfield, like he can control the game pretty quick and pretty immediately. So I'm giving Baltimore the edge in this one for sure.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson's 33-8 as a starter. He can tie Dan Marino for the best record before the age of 25 tonight if he gets the victory. Carson Wentz has had those 2 sprained ankles. They say he's a lot better than he has been, but if he's still not 100%, 2 sprained ankles with a quarterback, not a good recipe for success.
No, it's a horrible recipe. He can't move. His ankles suck. You know what I mean? So, I'm looking forward to seeing how he moves out there after trying to get over those particular injuries, because it's very hard to recover from 2 sprained ankles, it's still very weird for me to even say that the guy has 2 sprained ankles.
Yeah, you'd think he wouldn't be able to play at all, but he's out there, and they're trying their best. Okay, well, kind of a sloppy week, a lot of mistakes. I think there was 12 missed point after attempts, many missed field goals. There was 5 missed field goals in overtime, and the fourth quarter in overtime in the Cincinnati Green Bay game. That was insane. What a crazy game that was. The big marquee matchup of the weekend was the Sunday nighter with the Chiefs and the Bills, and a lot of people were picking the Chiefs, thinking that they could pull this together, but the Bills flexed their muscle and really proved that they probably are the class of the AFC now, putting the Chiefs still down in the basement of the West Division, and at 2-3, quite the shock where the Chiefs find themselves, and the Bills at 4-1. That was a real telling game, I thought.
They dominated them on everything. Like in every aspect of that game, the Chiefs were not better than the Bills. They just weren't. Even when Allen was scrambling out of the pocket, he was still finding receivers sometimes wide open down the field. Where you're like, wait, is there supposed to be a safety over top? Or isn't there supposed to be like a quarterback somewhere near the vicinity of some of these receivers?
Yeah.
There was some secondary breakdowns for sure on KC's side. And the Bills just brought it to them. They brought the wood, man, and they smacked them hard.
Yeah. Obviously, Josh Mahomes has been considered the best quarterback in the last few seasons, but has Josh Allen really narrowed that gap?
I think so. Like, you just have to look at his body of work. The guy's been amazing so far this year, and pretty much been error-free for the most part as well. So I'd have to say that Allen so far, if you're talking about MVP candidates, he's definitely in the talking. He's in the running. Sure.
Yeah, Josh Allen was a little bit of a gunslinger in his early first couple seasons, threw a lot of picks, really wasn't willing to throw the ball away or just run out of bounds and things like that. But this year he's making smart decisions, not turning the ball over. And their defense is phenomenal. Number 1 offense, number 1 defense. That is the recipe for success. If you got number 1 on both sides of the ball, you can pretty much consider yourself a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, you dictate terms at all times, whatever whoever's on the field, whether it be your defense or your offense, you're always dictating what's going to happen in the game. So the Bills are they're in a beautiful place right now. Beautiful. Yeah. It's just lovely.
Obviously that was sort of the marquee matchup everyone was excited for, but I think the best game of the whole entire weekend was the Chargers and the Browns game. That was an all-time shootout. There was 43 points scored in the fourth quarter. The Chargers scored on their final 5 possessions to pull out the victory. Austin Eckler scored 3 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. Another incredible weapon. And they have risen themselves to the top of the AFC. And you said it so many times last year when they had those games where they were losing in heartbreaking fashion. You said, look out for this Chargers team next year. I think they're going to be able to turn this around and be one of the top teams. And you were bang on.
Yeah. I was. No, man, you could see it. You could see that they were on the cusp of something great. They just needed to learn how to turn that corner so that they could start winning these close games. And now we're seeing that they've turned the corner. And this is the result where they can play your game at any way that you want to play the game. So if you want it to be a shootout, like with Baker Mayfield, well, we got a full holster, we're coming at you. And then they can have the shootout, man. Like unbelievable. I've been super impressed with Hebert's performance. 26 of 43, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. Incredible. And ran one in himself even to boot. So that was such a fun game. I was actually trying to go out for some lunch. I was going to go to the bar and watch all the games on the big screens that I have a favorite bar that I like to go to. But I just thought, okay, once it sort of changes one way or the other where I know who's going to win this game, I'm out of here. And I ended up having to stay to the very bitter end. I couldn't believe it. The Browns seemed to really blow it at the end there. They had about a minute and a half when they got the ball back. And I think they wasted about 50 seconds on 12 yards. And then they just, ended up having to throw a Hail Mary at the end. That was really weird because they were moving the ball so efficiently up until that moment. But once the Chargers scored, they missed that 2-point attempt. So it was only a 5-point difference. It looked like the Browns were going to be able to pull this out, but really, really bad finish for them.
Yeah, it was a horrible finish because they were, like you said, their offense was moving the ball so effectively. And then all of a sudden there's this crazy breakdown right when you need everything to be working as efficiently as possible at the end of the game. And so for me, I go, so what happened to the clock management? What happened to the proper plays getting into the huddle in time for them to run the plays? Like it's just a complete breakdown of some sort. And I don't know why that happened. It shouldn't have happened, actually. It really shouldn't have.
Typical Cleveland, our whole lives, they've shot themselves in the foot so many times, but they really looked amazing that entire game right up into that last minute and a half. But good for me. I'm a Chargers fan. Great to see them top of their division, one of the best teams in the AFC. And I can see them going far in the playoffs if they can keep this up. I want to blast through just a few games and then we'll sort of go in depth more to the games. Let's talk about Tom Brady having his career best game at 44 years old. The only time that he's ever thrown for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a game, which to me is like, what? Like, almost every week I'm like, whoa, he broke another record. But this record, I didn't think that this was even something that was on the table still. How does he have his career game at this age? This is phenomenal.
He doesn't make sense. He doesn't logically make any sense to me anymore. Like, he just doesn't make any sense. So when I heard that it was the first time he's ever thrown for 400 yards and had 5 touchdowns, and I'm like, really? Really? You finally decided to do that now? Like, it's like, oh, that's right. I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna do that.
Put another notch on my belt, another thing in the record books. Like, holy cow, yeah. Just I just can't believe it. Like, we're talking about the greatest of all time. And you would have thought out of the 350 games or so that he's played, he would have done something like this. But there have been 5 touchdown games, but not with the 400 yards. There have been 400-yard games, but not with the 5 TDs at the same time. But this time, let's just throw that up on the board. His weapons, the weapons that he have is just phenomenal. Just Antonio Brown just lighting it up yesterday. Man, he has just a plethora. Even with Gronk out, man, they just were unstoppable.
They just keep coming at you, and they just keep coming at you in waves upon waves upon waves. So you got Brady, 30 of 41, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then you got his receivers, Brown, 7 receptions, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wait, Mike Evans, 6 receptions, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, it just kind of keeps going on and on and on. Like, at one point in time, the Dolphins thought to themselves, hey, man, we might have a chance here. We might just, wait. Okay, the game's over.
Yeah, that interstate rivalry is one-sided right now. That's for sure. Oh man, that was a beat down by the Bucks, and they keep moving on. Tom Brady just spits in Father Time's eye and says, "No, you're not taking me down yet, buddy." There was a lot of really wild things. One of the crazy things that's happening on defense is Trayvon Diggs from the Cowboys with 6 picks in 5 games, setting a record and just continually being just phenomenal on defense.
Yeah. He has been ridiculous. Like, out of the 2 brothers, and one is the receiver, you're thinking maybe that guy's actually has the better hands in the family. Maybe Trayvon has the better hands. The Cowboys were spectacular in their win.
Yeah.
The other night.
Yeah, definitely. Holy cow. New England came back down 22-9. There was a really weird fake punt by Houston that just turned the tide. New England won. That crazy game between Green Bay and Cincy we're going to talk about. Detroit staying winless. The only winless team in the NFC, and their first 0-5 start since 2015, which sort of surprised me too, because they seem to be near the bottom all the time. Philly having a great defensive effort. Lots and lots to break down today. You and I usually start with the NFC West. Why don't we start there again and talk about the only unbeaten team in the league? The Arizona Cardinals have just risen to the top. They squeaked out a win in this one, 17-10 over the Niners, but it doesn't matter when you see the standings. A win is a win. They pulled out the victory. A really good defensive stop really solidified this win right at the goal line on Trey Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance thought he would be the big man and just run it in. No, denied at the 1-yard line. That was a great stop by the Cardinals, and that just signified the start of like their dominance in that game. Like that was the difference maker, stopping him at that goal line stand.
Oh man, was it ever? Yeah, phenomenal. What about that catch by Rondale Moore? It was about 5 or 6 yards out of bounds, and he was still able to handle it, do the toe tap, and keep in. Another plethora of weapons for Kyler Murray.
That was one of the best catches you'll see all season.
Yeah.
Clearly, like he was gracefully kept his toes in bounds and leaned out, fully outstretched to grab that ball. That was one of the prettier passes you'll ever see. That was definitely some toe tag swag on that catch for sure. And Kyler Murray, hey, steady, 22 of 31, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, but he had to rely on his guy Hopkins with that ridiculous catch over the shoulder, over his defender for the touchdown as well. The Cardinals are rolling. They're rolling. They're feeling themselves.
DeAndre, phenomenal hands again. One of the best receivers in football. He just passed his former teammate Larry Fitzgerald for the most receiving yards before the age of 30. And it's incredible that they have Larry there for so many years, and then he just passes the torch to DeAndre, and then now Rondale Moore. It's must be nice to be Kyler Murray and getting to have these targets to throw to.
Yeah, especially when you consider last year Hopkins was just gift wrapped to him, just like, oh, here you go, here's Christmas come early. There you go, buddy. There you go.
Yeah, no kidding. I think about that all the time when I think of Hopkins. I'm just shocked. And you see how far Houston's fallen, and Hopkins is so lucky that he got out of there. There was a tough injury. Their tight end Max Williams had a really tough knee injury. It was really sad to see him carted off to the hospital. I froze frame on it, and his knee was going sideways and backwards. Something that a knee is just not capable of doing. And every single solitary teammate that he has came over and patted him on the shoulder pad, on the head, said, good luck, wish you well. He's a very loved guy, but a big loss, having such a huge weapon at tight end. Looks like he'll be out for a while, if not the entire year.
I would say the entire year. I saw the replay, and it looked like his knee left his leg. Like that's what it looked like. It was bad.
Yeah,
really bad. So yeah, obviously we wish him well. Hopefully a speedy recovery, but it's going to take time for him to come back. And also too, you kind of always get a sense for a player, like when you see their teammates come by and wish them well after an injury of that magnitude, and for the whole team to come over and wish that guy well. Well, obviously it just speaks to how important he is to the team.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. The guy that was driving the cart just kept looking back and, okay, more guys coming. No, I better wait. No, I'm not driving yet. And just constantly another flood of guys. It was like all 53 guys from the roster, and every trainer and every coach, and even some of the opposing players on the other team were coming over. A super well-loved guy, and we wish him nothing but the best, for sure. Trey Lance, it's tough getting your first start, especially a few weeks into it, not thinking that you're going to be playing, and suddenly Jimmy G goes down. He's thrown into the mix. He's dynamic, fun to watch. I think, eventually he's going to be a really good quarterback. Pretty good numbers. 16 for 89 on the ground. So he's got the wheels, and he's got Deebo Samuel, who's another phenomenal talent, but just not quite there yet. A rookie coming in, trying to get his first win. No, not against this Cardinals team.
No, not against this Cardinals team. And, when you're a rookie, you're still trying to find your way. And he clearly is. It's good experience going forward, being in battles like this, of this nature. And hopefully he learns from it and, continues growing.
Yeah. Buda Baker had a really great pick, and that guy's super talented. He picked off Lance, and he had 5 tackles himself. So the Cardinals play the Browns next Sunday in the late window, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern. The 49ers have a bye week off, so hopefully they can regroup. The other NFC West game that took place was on Thursday, as the Rams improved to 4-1, and they're just sitting 1 game back of Arizona as they beat Seattle 26-17. Seattle sits tied with San Fran, down at 2-3. Matthew Stafford continued his great play. Such an amazing trade for them. 365 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee had that TD catch. Robert Woods had an unbelievable game. 12 catches for 150 yards. Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel had TD runs. And Aaron Donald was a big force on this game. He actually ended up causing Russell Wilson's injury that forced Wilson from the game, and Wilson had to have surgery, and he'll be out for approximately 4 to 6 weeks. Really good offensive showing by the Rams, and being able to win against Seattle, pushing them farther down the division.
Yeah, very good win by the Rams. And it just shows, it just exposed more of Seattle's flaws, personally, in this game. Like their defense is just not quite up to snuff. And then also too, on the other side of things, when you look at the Rams defense, they got some studs that can carry them. And I can't say the same for the Seahawks. They just don't have those sorts of players behind. And unfortunate for Russ, him getting that injury when he did. I think he might miss next week's game or the week after because of the tendon injury to his middle finger, I believe.
Yeah. There was a description of everything that was wrong with his finger, and most of the words never heard of before. Super long, crazy words. I thought I'm not going to bother with most of them, but what it is an extension tendon rupture and a fractured and dislocation of the joint. So he had successful surgery to repair it. Quite the huge cast on his hand. I was really quite shocked at how big it was just for a finger, but I guess they want to immobilize it. It wasn't working. It was just sort of flopping around, like it wasn't really even attached. So you got to have surgery on something like that, especially that $200 million hand that he has there. I bet you all Seattle, the whole entire organization was just holding their breath that he'd be able to come through successfully, surgery successfully. So he can continue on this great career he's had.
Yeah. Obviously, everybody's hoping with bated breath, that everything goes well, and that obviously it did. But now he's on the shelf. So now steps in. I guess their backup Smith.
Yeah.
See what he can do.
He actually looked pretty good. I thought he seemed to not look like a deer in the headlights. He was engineering drive, had a couple of TD passes, and DK Metcalf was good as usual with a couple TDs, but I didn't think Geno Smith looked bad. It's his first start since 2017 with the Giants, but I thought he looked capable so far.
Yeah, he did look capable, and he gave them a chance. He gave them a chance to win. Unfortunately, they turned the ball over, but there was a chance there. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm the Seahawks, that's all I'm looking for with this quarterback, is as long as he can give us a chance to win.
Yeah. Speaking about the Giants, Geno Smith's last team that he played for, the Rams, go there to New York and play the Giants next Sunday, and the Seahawks play the Steelers. That's the Sunday nighter. So a little bit of a feature game there. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson won't be there, but let's hope Geno Smith can come in and play quite well and make a game of this. Okay, let's switch to the NFC South. A very, very great division so far. The defending champions, obviously, we talked about a little earlier with Brady, 4-1. Dolphins got destroyed 45-17. We mentioned a bunch of things with this TB team. Brown, man, like 124 yards and a couple touchdowns. Evan with a couple touchdowns. Leonard Fournette was great. Godwin, Giovanni Bernard, just on and on and on. Jacoby Brissett played pretty good. Myles Gaskin was his favorite target, 10 catches, 74 yards, and a couple touchdowns. Even had 5 rushes for 25 yards. But they just don't have enough weapons to compete in this type of matchup.
No, not nearly enough weapons at all. Like, they're just overmatched. And the funny thing is, the Bucs are missing Gronk. They didn't really miss him, but they're missing Gronk. Yeah. So I guess you could say they went easy on the Dolphins. And then Brown, fastest receiver to 900 receptions.
Nice.
Even with all his problems that he's had, still the fastest receiver to 900 receptions. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, incredible. He is an amazing talent, and that's why Brady's given him a couple opportunities to come back and play with him. I know, he considered him one of the best receivers in the league, and most of the league had given up on Brown with his troubles off the field. But he's behaved himself here, and he's still showing his incredible talent. He's such a force. That one touchdown run where he got the ball in a bit of traffic and just left them all in the dust. He's still so speedy.
Yeah, he's still got wheels, man. The guy's still fast. he really hasn't lost too much
Yeah.
in his more as he's getting older. Hasn't lost too much at all.
The Thursday nighter has the Bucks playing Philly. That'll be a fun matchup. Philly's getting better. Jalen Hurts is looking good. Philly's defense is good. And the Dolphins, they go to London actually, and they play the early game, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern time against the Jags. So Phillies should be able to continue the Jags losing streak that sits at 20 games now. So Philly must be licking their chops being able to go across the pond to London and take a victory.
Oh yeah, of course. It's like, oh, the helpless Jags. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be a great game.
Okay, now still in the NFC South, the Saints improved to 3-2 with a 33-22 win over Washington. Jameis Winston had 4 touchdowns a game. Alvin Kamara had a touchdown on the ground and 1 through the air. Marcus Callaway had 2 TDs, and Deontay Harris had the other one on a really amazing 72-yard catch and run. Yeah, Saints are looking good. I think Winston is finally putting it together, not making a lot of mistakes. They're not giving him a ton of action. He's not throwing the ball a lot, but when he is, he's really finding his targets well.
He's picking his spots. He's picking his spots of when to get the ball downfield, and he's been finding success in doing that. But unfortunately, Taysom Hill did get knocked out of the game with concussion, and hopefully he can be back for their next game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. With the Washington side of the ball, Antonio Gibson led the way. He had 20 carries, only 60 yards, but a couple touchdowns. Taylor Heineke, still in this growing pain stage. He threw a couple picks. He threw 248 yards, didn't throw a touchdown, a couple picks, and he was 5 rushes for 40 yards on the ground. But I don't think Washington's quite pulled it together enough to be a competitive team at the top of any division, and we'll see as it goes on this year. I think they're just in the rebuilding stage.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. I believe they're in the rebuilding stage, and then plus with some of the odd stuff that's been going on with the team. Apparently, there was a DEA raid the other day. Yeah, that's a thing now. So they got a lot of stuff that's not football related going on with the team. That's a distraction. So I just don't expect much out of the Washington team this year.
True. Yeah. The Saints have a bye week this week coming up, and Washington hosts the Chiefs, which will be a very, very tough test. I'm sure Kansas City's a little angry, a little ready to beat up on somebody. So look out, Washington football team. Carolina Panthers were upset by Philly. It was quite the defensive effort by Philly. They had 3 picks, 3 sacks. They were and 4 takeaways in the entire game. They really beat up on Sam Darnold and the Panthers, and they won 21-18. Darius Slay had 2 picks. That veteran corner really had a phenomenal day, and Jalen Hurts, a couple touchdowns himself. Not a phenomenal game, but great to see Philly be able to come back and get a big victory. Yeah,
it was good because they discovered for themselves that they can win a close game like this. And then Hurts ran for 2 second half touchdowns, right, to get them back into the game and get them the win that they needed. Battled back from down by 12 points. So it was gutsy performance by the Eagles.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. For Carolina, Chuba Hubbard had a career best 24 carries for 101 yards, 5 catches for 33. Great to see the Edmontonian having a great game in place of McCaffrey, and getting a lot of opportunities to show what he has.
Yeah, and it's fantastic that he's getting the opportunity because he's showing that he's a very good NFL player. He doesn't get these opportunities usually because McCaffrey is just so incredibly stellar. So now that he has the chance to step up, he is stepping up to the best of his ability.
There's a phenomenal documentary that TSN is showing right now quite frequently. It's called Northern Ties. I don't know if they'll continue to show it on loop, but it's been broadcast on a few times over this weekend. If you get a chance, Jason, and our viewers and listeners, check it out. It's focusing on Chase Claypool, Chuba Hubbard, and one of the defensive guys. Name escapes me right now, but really great to see how crucial a lot of these Canadians are becoming. Chase Claypool had a phenomenal game. We'll talk about that in a sec, but yeah, I really recommend it, Jason. A great watch.
Yeah, well, I've heard very good things about it, and it just goes to show that the Canadian talent is we're getting better at our higher end talent at getting into these leagues, especially the NFL.
Yeah, it's really good. As I mentioned earlier, Philly plays on Thursday against Tampa Bay. It should be a great game. And Carolina hosts Minnesota on the early window Sunday. Atlanta looked really great on offense, beating the sad sack Jets 27-20 in London. You must be happy to see Matty Ice on fire. Kyle Pitts finally breaking out, having his best game as a rookie. Yeah, really nice to see Atlanta put it together against the Jets, but it's a win. A win's a win, and you can get some confidence even from this.
Yeah, a win's a win, but like the Falcons did have a 20-3 lead coming into halftime, and then the score was only 27-20. So little bit worrying, but hey, the Falcons managed to get one. Ryan 33 of 45, 342 yards, 2 TDs. And then Pitts with 9 receptions, 119 yards, 1 TD. Like you said, best game so far of the season for him. Hopefully, there's more of that to come from that young man.
No kidding. Yeah. Hurst had a touchdown. Mike Davis had a TD run. Zach Wilson had another off day. He had a win last week, but just didn't really look comfortable in this one. This is the first game of a few in London this season. There'll be a game coming up in London this coming weekend. And because of the long travel across the pond, the Falcons and the Jets are both off this week. So they get a chance maybe to visit a few sites over there and then come back and refresh for the remaining part of their schedule.
Yeah. I hope, they'll take the advantage of, being on a somewhat of a vacation. Do some sightseeing before they have to come back over here, get back into the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's switch to the NFC East. We've already talked about Washington and Philly, but let's talk about the Cowboys, who remain on top of the division, 4-1, beating up badly on the Giants, who fell to 1-4. 44-20, another massive offensive explosion for this Dallas team. But the Giants, my God, they lost their quarterback, their top running back, top receiver, all in this same game. Like, how does any team win when they lose those 3 guys off a roster? I have some updates on their injuries, but yeah, this was a beatdown. But you got to give Giants a little bit of a pass when they lose those 3 top guys.
Yeah, it's they're gonna have it tough going forward when you lose all pretty much your top end talent on your offense. Jones got knocked out with a concussion as he was kind of driven into the turf off a tackle. Yeah, his bell was rung. He was not walking right. So yeah, we'll be keeping updates on him. And then Barkley with nasty ankle injury.
Yeah.
Nasty. I saw the picture of what it looked like outside of his cleat. Did not look good. Did not look good at all.
Man, did it ever balloon up fast? Hey, holy cow! There was a big lump on the side of his ankle.
Yeah, it was huge. It was nasty. Like, I don't know. I look at that ankle and I think to myself, there's no way that he can play the next game for next week. Like, it looked that bad. Like, it looks like he might be out for a couple weeks.
Yeah. And Kenny Golladay had a knee injury. They say it was a hyperextension, so nothing too serious, but Definitely couldn't play the rest of the game, tried and wasn't able to. But the Cowboys just still rolled up on them. Dak had 300 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Ezekiel Elliott had those. Zeke had another 21 carries for 110 yards and a TD on the ground. Yeah, this offense looks like it's clicking on all cylinders, and with a really good defense as well. Look out. These Cowboys are no joke. I think they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? We haven't heard that for quite some time. So hopefully the Cowboys can continue on this trek up in their division and keep winning. So we shall see if they can continue on their winning ways. But so far, so good for the Cowboys.
Yeah. I wonder if this crossed Dak's mind at all this week, but it was 364 days since he had his horrific injury. Same stadium, same opponent, 1 day away from a year exactly. I wonder if that crossed his mind at all this week.
It may have briefly crossed his mind, but also too, probably what else crossed his mind was the fact that he really wanted to win against these guys because they knocked him out of the game last time they played. So he wanted some sort of vengeance, and he got it.
Yeah. So it looks like Mike Glennon now has the reins at QB for the Giants. He threw a couple picks, looked not bad, but with those 2 interceptions, that was really bad. Devontae Booker took over for Saquon Barkley. He had 16 for 42, a touchdown on the ground, and 3 for 16 and a touchdown through the air. Kadarius Toney had a really phenomenal game, 10 catches for 189 yards, but he got kicked out of the game because he threw a punch and they booted him. So who knows if that's suspension worthy or not, but yeah, you can't be doing that when you're the top receiver and you're having a career day. Yeah, getting yourself booted out of the game isn't a wise move.
No, the coaches usually frown upon that. They usually frown upon that. So he probably had a talking to after. So hopefully he can keep his emotions in check for the next game.
Yeah. Okay, so Dallas goes to New England, 1:25 Pacific time, 4:25 Eastern time on Sunday. And the Giants host the Rams in the early window on Sunday. So, yeah, but I think it's a lost year in New York. But the Cowboys are the class of that division by far. The final division we have to cover in the NFC is the North. The Packers lead at 4-1, Chicago's 3-2, Minnie 2-3, and Detroit, the lone winless team in the conference at 0-5. This game, Green Bay and Cincy, it was basically who can finally make a field goal to pull out this win. 25-22 in overtime. Never seen Mason Crosby have that tough of a game. He missed 3 consecutive field goals, 2 in the fourth quarter, 1 in overtime. And the Cincy kicker, Evan McPherson, missed his only 2 attempts to just make this game go on and on and on and on. And then finally, Mason Crosby is the hero, hitting a 49-yarder in overtime to win it. But crazy, just bizarre how many chances both teams had to win, and it finally comes down to the end.
Well, it's almost like both teams were trying to find an excuse to lose this game. The kickers just couldn't make a field goal. It was very funny to me post game where they asked Aaron Rodgers, "So were you confident?" He goes, "Yeah, sure. I was confident."
We'll go with that.
I thought that was hilarious. But you know what? Eventually, Crosby, being the veteran that he is, finally came through and won the game for the Packers. And would you look at that? Packers are sitting pretty ever since that debacle from the first week. Oh man, so much worries going on. No, not really. Not anymore.
I know. I can't believe how people overreact after the first weekend. It's like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers hates his whole team and he's wants to leave so bad that he's tanking the year and all this just absolute crap. And they've won 4 in a row now, and they're looking absolutely phenomenal. And the other person that's looking phenomenal is Davante Adams with his career high in yardage. He has had so many monster games. I can't even believe this is his career high, but 206 yards and 11 catches and a touchdown. Is he the best receiver in football now?
He's got to be right up there. He's getting close, man. Like he's having these games where you know that the defense is keying on him, and he still has games like this. 11 receptions of 206 yards. Like that's ridiculous. And the defense is keying on you, and you're still able to do this. So he's got to be in the top 3. I'll give him that.
Yeah, man, is he good? Aaron Jones, another phenomenal game. 14 for 103 for 7.5 yards average on every run. AJ Dillon also was great. 8 for 30 on the ground and 4 for 49 through the air with a touchdown. Joe Burrow had a pretty decent game. He did throw a couple picks, and he actually ended up going to the hospital. He had some kind of throat contusion. I guess they would probably just went for precautionary reasons, but it's never good when your quarterback leaves the game and goes to the hospital.
No, it's never good. It's kind of concerning. And I guess all of a sudden he had a very raspy voice from this throat contusion. He could barely speak, but they're hoping that this is just a minor thing and that he'll be over it quite quickly.
Yeah. I like Cincy's team. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow's former teammate in college, had another great game, 6 catches, 159 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon had 1 on the ground, and Samaje Perine also caught a touchdown pass. Cincy now sits 3-2. Burrow's a talent. Hopefully this throat problem won't be rearing its ugly head, but man, that was a crazy game. I watched pretty much the whole thing, and I couldn't believe it. It seemed like they wanted to tie in the end. Not quite there. Finally, Crosby comes through and gets it. The 15-year veteran, he doesn't miss very often. He missed an extra point and 3 field goals in this game. Not sure what the biggest problem was. Maybe the wind was blowing pretty bad there, but yeah, that was a crazy game. Green Bay goes to Chicago and plays another NFC North game next weekend, and since he goes to Detroit to play those winless Lions, the Bears had a nice victory over Vegas. A defensive struggle in this game, and Justin Fields wasn't called on much, but Chicago's defense really pulled out this win and had Derek Carr in a lot of trouble. He was sacked a few times. Chicago leads the league in sacks with 18. Khalil Mack was amazing again. 7 tackles, a sack, and he was just all over the quarterback there, Derek Carr. Yeah, the Bears, they don't have to do a ton on offense if they have that great of a defensive effort.
Yeah, and it just takes the pressure off of their rookie quarterback Fields, so that he knows he doesn't actually have to do too much. He just has to manage the game properly enough for them to get the win, which is what he did. 12 of 20, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, and Bears look good. Defense looked better against the Raiders. The Raiders should be a little bit worried now after dropping 2 straight.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah. They had a phenomenal performance from Denzel Perryman. He had 10 tackles, 2 assists. He was just acquired on September 1st from Carolina. Played really, really good. Most of the talk coming out of this game, though, was about John Gruden, who's in a bit of trouble for some emails that he had wrote in 2011. He has apologized, saying that these things have been taken out of context a little bit. He doesn't remember all the details that went into why he wrote this, but he insists they weren't racist remarks. He said he was just trying to be funny a little bit, and it obviously didn't turn out that way. But it's kind of weird that these are coming out 10 years later, and suddenly, a lot of bad light has been kind of shown on Gruden, and he has to, answer to these. But I don't know how 10 years later, suddenly they're coming up.
Yeah, well, I believe these came about, like these emails came out because of the DEA investigation into the Washington football team.
Oh,
And
wow.
then it was the email from that they saw, and that's why it came out from that. So I guess maybe this is a cautionary tale to anybody that's part of the NFL or an NFL family. Watch what you say. You never know when these things can come back to you. Even if it is a private email, then all of a sudden something weird can happen and just expose you. And then before you know it, now you got a bad name. Your name has been sullied.
Yeah, pretty weird, eh? Yeah, definitely. Don't put it in writing, even if it's a joke. If you're not a comedian, don't send out some stuff that can be misconstrued and made you look really, really bad. Okay, so the Bears host the Packers, another NFC North battle early Sunday, and the Raiders go to Denver. So Minnesota, this is another NFC North battle. Minnesota kept Detroit winless, 19-17 victory. Heartbreak again for Detroit. They thought they had this game wrapped up, 30 seconds left, and Minnesota went down, kicked a 54-yard field goal to close it out. And Dan Campbell was not exactly keeping it together in the post-game press conference. He was crying and crying and crying. He's taking this loss really hard, and them being the only winless team in the conference, not a good look so far.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, I'm like, why is he crying so much? Because he's got to know that he's going to lose more, like a lot more. Because he's just going to cry for the rest of the season, or maybe he is crying. Maybe that's why he is crying so much. Because he's going to be crying for the rest of the season. And I feel for the guy, I really do, because it looked like they had a shot. Like they were like, oh my goodness, we're going to win. No, not going to win. With Greg Joseph stepping up and hitting a 54-yard field goal at the end of the game, and then that's all it took. Matheson looked good though. The sub in for Dalvin Cook, since he's still out, 25 attempts for 113 yards rushing. He looked great.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. Another touchdown for him, and it must be nice to have those riches there. Justin Jefferson had a great game. Kirk Cousins was good. That Goff for Stafford trade is sure showing that Detroit made a huge mistake there. It's insane the difference between the two teams and these organizations once this deal's been made.
Yeah, where Goff went to a team that Stafford's been dealing with this whole time, going, oh, okay, so this is what he had to deal with. Oh, this is not good. And then Stafford goes to the Rams and goes, oh, this is a team you had? Oh, this is great. I love this team.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. Incredible. Okay, so the Vikings go to Carolina to play the Panthers, and the Lions host the Bengals in the early window on Sunday. Okay, so let's start off in the AFC with the West Division. We talked a little bit about this crazy shootout with the Chargers and Cleveland. Is there more that you want to go over? I guess the only thing I want to talk about is how Cleveland grabbed Austin Eckler and brought him into the end zone so that there would be a little extra time left, and that lost them the game because they never were able to get that TD at the end. Was that a terrible move on their part, or pretty smart, but just not non-execution at the end?
I think, you know what? I'm going to go with, it was actually pretty smart. It's just that the execution was horrible at the end there, because they wanted to give themselves more time to score, obviously. And the fact that Eckler is just like, I'm just going to keep messing around here and let the clock run down. No, man. Actually, we're just going to throw you into the end zone so we get the ball back. Which is kind of funny because I've never seen that before. I've never seen a defense say, no, get in here. Let's get in.
Yeah, they just threw them all in. Almost the whole entire team grabbed him and hucked him in the end zone. And yeah, said you got another touchdown. That was his third of the quarter and the victory points. Cleveland, I think it's going to be a really, really difficult team to beat if they can keep this running attack going so well. Both Chubb and Kareem Hunt had phenomenal games. They rolled up 230 rushing yards. Time of possession in this game was 36-28 to 23-32 for the Browns. When you can keep your offense on the field and just generate long sustaining drives, you're going to wear down a defense. They definitely wear down the Chargers defense and almost pulled out the victory with just an incredible rushing attack. This two-pronged attack is very, very, very difficult to stop.
I'd probably say that's probably the best two-pronged attack in the NFL. Chubb, 21 attempts, 161 yards, touchdown. Hunt, 12 attempts, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, no, those guys, that is just something nice to know that you always have that in your back pocket. You have these two studs in the backfield that can get you touchdowns at any point in time in the game. Yeah, for sure.
Baker had a great game, 305 yards, a couple touchdowns, no interceptions. This team is good. I actually thought the Chargers were in really, really tough because I think Cleveland's defense is much better than San Diego's, the LA Chargers. But I don't know. I think Herbert just pulled it out with an incredible 400 yards and 4 TD attack. And Eckler, man, that guy's a great weapon to have. I love their little RPOs where they just look for him, find him out of the backfield, do a little toss to him, and then once he finds some open field, he is so elusive and tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's shot out of a cannon, and he's very strong. He's very strong. He's very hard of a man to bring down to the ground. So it's nice that the Chargers have him in the backfield, and that Herbert can rely on him for dump downs and stuff.
And Keenan Allen has been such a force there as a receiver for many years, but now Mike Williams has kind of emerged as the number one guy there through the passing attack. And he had another great game, a couple touchdowns, 165 yards. His hands are great. And there was one touchdown though, like there wasn't anybody within 20, 25 yards of the guy. I don't know what happened there.
There was a complete breakdown in the secondary, and he was wide open. One of the easiest touchdowns he'll ever score this season.
Yeah. Okay, so the Chargers go to Baltimore, and Cleveland hosts unbeaten Arizona. So that should be a great game next Sunday. The Broncos, they fall to 3-2 with a loss to Pittsburgh, 27-19. The Steelers used Najee Harris and Chase Claypool as the top offensive weapons there. Big Ben was good, and Deontay Johnson had another good game. Chase had a really great game, and it's great to see him emerge as such a weapon and getting so much yardage for them. They're so happy that they got the Canadian there.
Oh yeah, of course. Claypool, 5 receptions, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. He played stellar. Helped the Steelers snap a 3-game losing streak, and Najee Harris they actually had an effective run game, ground attack for this particular game, 122 yards off of 23 attempts for Harris. And Roethlisberger was steady, 15-25, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Steelers look good.
The big play came at the very end of the game. There was 11 seconds left, 4th and goal for the Broncos, and James Pierre got an interception to seal off the victory. Bridgewater had them marching, was going to try to punch it in, get a 2-point conversion and tie it up. But what a massive pick to solidify the victory.
Yeah, huge pick, right time, right place. And that's what cemented the win for the Steelers. Fantastic work.
I think we're going to see Claypool even emerge even more over the next little while because they lost Juju Smith-Schuster. He had shoulder surgery late last night and will miss this entire season, they say. There was news that emerged today that he had, quite the serious shoulder injury, but all of a sudden they just announced about an hour ago that he had that surgery and will be out the year.
Yeah. You could tell that whatever he did to his shoulder was quite serious because he was literally screaming out in pain. Yeah. So, and these NFL guys are super tough. So if they're actually screaming out in pain, then he did something very, 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 very bad to his shoulder. Yeah. Don't know what it was, but yeah.
Okay, so recap: AFC West, Chargers on the top, 4-1. Broncos and Raiders in second place, 3-2, and the Chiefs at the bottom, 2-3. Broncos host the Raiders in an AFC West matchup, and the Steelers host the Seahawks on the Sunday nighter, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So Kansas City, this is the first time starting 2-3 or worse since 2014, last in the AFC West. And we mentioned it off the top. Buffalo just beat them up. Buffalo just, man, I couldn't believe how good they are on both sides of the ball. And they just look far superior than Kansas City in so many ways. It was just like a complete reversal from the playoffs last year, where KC was obviously the better team, and Josh Allen, better quarterback. It was crazy to see how much Buffalo has emerged and Kansas City has started to slide down.
Yeah, Bills dominated them. They dominated them from the start to the finish. Like KC was there in the beginning, but not really. You could tell that the difference between the two teams, and especially when it comes to the defense. So Bills have their number right now, so to speak. And KC, there is definitely now a difference in quality between the two teams.
Yeah. One of the picks that Mahomes threw wasn't his fault. It went directly through Tyreek's hands. And Tyreek has usually got some of the most incredible hands in football. The other one, Gregory Rousseau, made an amazing play by jumping up, deflecting it to himself, and getting the pick there. So you can't really blame Mahomes on those two picks, but it was an off night a little bit for him.
Yeah, he didn't have his best night or his best stuff, clearly against the Bills. But with that being said, credit the Bills defense for making sure that to make it a tough night on Mahomes. Yeah. So that he did not have a good night.
Yeah, well, it looks like Buffalo and LA Chargers are kind of the cream of the crop right now in the AFC. Buffalo goes to Tennessee for the Monday nighter, which will be really, really fun to watch. And the Chiefs get to go to Washington and beat up on that football team they have down there with no nicknames. So, I don't cheer for Washington. I actually sort of hope they get stomped on bad. So maybe the Chiefs can, exact some revenge there and get their third victory of the year.
Yeah. I think a game against Washington will help soothe their wounds, so to speak, for the Chiefs going forward.
Yeah. Okay, AFC North. Baltimore leads the division 3-1, hosting the Colts tonight, Monday night. Ravens are favored over the 1-3 Colts. I don't see any scenario where the Colts win this game. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Baltimore is definitely the better team.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I don't see it either. I believe Baltimore is the better team, and I think the guy that definitely makes the hugest difference, the biggest difference, is Lamar Jackson. So
yeah. So far, the Bengals are in second place after losing to Green Bay, 3-2 record. The Browns also lost to the Chargers, 3-2, and the Steelers with a victory are now 2-3. Next week, Ravens host the Chargers and Indy hosts Houston. Should be a victory there. Okay. Buffalo in the AFC East, Buffalo sits atop 4-1. New England second place, 2-3. The Pats beat Houston with a comeback victory. Mac Jones had a pretty good game, and they were down early, came back and beat Houston. Davis Mills had his best game of his career, 312 yards and 3 touchdowns. Touchdown to Chris Moore, touchdown to Chris Connolly. But they still fall to 1-4 on the year as New England made the comeback and got the win.
Yeah, the Texans are, well, they tried. They gave it their best shot, and it still wasn't good enough. So it's unfortunate for the Texans. It really is.
Yeah.
But Mac Jones looked great, man. Threw the TD to tie the game, and then had the go-ahead drive so that folks could hit his 21-yard field goal for the win. Against the Texans. So Jones had a great game, 23 of 30, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And he had Harris, 14 attempts on the ground for 58 yards and 1 touchdown. The Pats won a close one. They won one of those that are hard to win, and they did it. They did it well. And the Texans, unfortunately, because of all their ills, they can still find ways to lose.
Yeah. Okay, and as I mentioned, Houston goes to Indy next week. New England hosts the Cowboys. Okay, now just to finish off, we'll cover the AFC South. Tennessee Titans lead the division at 3-2. They kept Jacksonville winless with a 37-19 victory. Derrick Henry, the best running back in the game, in my opinion. Another 3 touchdowns, 29 carries for 130 yards. Man, he is just, every week we just have to talk about what a force he is. Must be nice for Tannehill to be able to just turn around and hand the ball to Henry all the time, and he just chugs up the yardage.
Yeah, just to hand it back to this huge hulking monster that's behind you. Yep, that's pretty cool. And so far, throughout 5 games, he has he's amassed 640 yards for Henry, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I saw some statistics and the game log from his high school career, and he put up in one season 4,267 yards. He scored 55 touchdowns in 10 games. He got one game, he had 45 carries for 510 yards and 6 touchdowns. He had 57 carries for 485 yards and 6 touchdowns. He scored 6 touchdowns on 4 occasions. His lowest amount in his whole entire high school career was 43 carries for 189 yards and a touchdown. But most games he got 3 or more touchdowns. He got 3 on 4 occasions, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. He reached over 400 yards on 4 occasions and 500 once. It was awesome to see. It was just hilarious. Like you saw some of the stiff arms that he's had in the pro game. He was just pushing kids down left and right. Guys were saying like it wasn't fair. Like there was nothing we could do. Like it was just he got the ball and we were like, oh no, we're in trouble. It was so shockingly awesome to watch.
Yeah, I've seen some YouTube of him. Here's the problem for the opponents. He was just as big as he is now in the NFL then. He was a massive kid. It was not fair. You can't just have a child who has the body of a grown man, not just any grown man, but an NFL player grown man body going up against kids his own age. Not fair. Yeah. Not right. And then on top of that, you just said one of them was like 58 carries. You know what that means? You know what the offense is? Here. You're not even going to try to pass it. You know what's going to happen. You're just going to keep heading off.
I know. That's the crazy thing. You know he's getting the ball and you still can't stop him. Like that is the shocking part of it.
Yeah, it's so shocking, but it's like, well, what are you going to do? You can't hurt him. you can't tackle him. You're just gonna have to just let him just keep running into the end zone.
I wanted to put it up but I had computer troubles. But
Okay.
I'm gonna try to put it up on our site. But this one game blows me away. Game number 10 in the season. 21 carries for 404 yards and 6 touchdowns. His average carry was 19 and a quarter yards per carry. Like, he's almost getting 2 first downs on every carry. Like, holy crap. That's just 21 carries for 400 yards. Like, oh man, it was awesome to watch. I'm going to try to put it up on our site and show everyone how this was men against boys, even though they were the same age.
Oh yeah. It definitely is men against boys when you talk about him and his accomplishments in high school. Utterly ridiculous.
So really amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. So the Jags are rocked. We talked about John Gruden being a bit of a distraction there as the coach of the Vegas Raiders. Well, you and I mentioned Urban Meyer being a pretty big distraction last week when he decided to not take the team flight and go to some establishment and got in a lot of trouble. Now I guess there's more things coming out that he's already lost the locker room. He's only been there for 5 games and everybody supposedly hates the guy. It's you think that the Jags are, sunk as low as they can with 20 losses in a row, but this could get worse. Could they fire a guy this quick I think he signed a 3-4 year deal and they already they're already considering firing the guy.
That was quick. That was their Urban Meyer phase, I guess. That's how we'll remember this. It's like, oh, you remember the Urban Meyer phase? You remember that? It's like, oh yeah, I do. I remember that. Yeah, man. Like if it's that negative already, and for some of the stuff that he's already done, and now with the fact that it's come out that he's lost the locker room, didn't you just get there? Did you have a chance to even get the locker room? Yeah, man, not good. Not good.
Crazy.
If ownership doesn't see something like turn around quick, either culture-wise for him or he tries to get back the room somehow. If none of those things happen, yeah, he's going to be out of a job soon.
Yeah, it's insane. Trevor Lawrence, half decent game, but just not enough. James Robinson had a career high with 149 yards and a touchdown. Dan Arnold finally emerged, the new tight end there. 6 catches, 64 yards, but 20 losses in a row. They host the Dolphins next week, and the Titans host the Bills on the Monday nighter, which I've already spoken about, and I think it's going to be a hell of a Monday nighter. We're going to see, Derrick Henry up against that vaunted Bills defense. We'll see if they're even able to stop him.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a great game. And yes, I do look forward to seeing the Bills D versus Derrick Henry.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's a wrap on the NFL for this week. Let's turn to some combat sports. I want to talk about the UFC card, which was played very early on Saturday, so they would get out of the way of the boxing card that was taking center stage in Vegas and around the world. The trilogy finally happened between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. You and I got to see the second fight together. That first fight ended very controversially. Everybody thought that Fury had won until he suffered that late knockdown. But this one lived up to the billing. Most of these super fights do not. You're anticipating them so much and you think this is going to be the fight of the year, fight of the decade, fight of the century. But this one actually lived up to the billing and might have been the greatest heavyweight fight we've ever witnessed, heavyweight title fight. 11th round KO. Finally, Tyson Fury puts a stamp on his dominance and superiority, even though he got knocked down twice in the 4th round and looked in a lot of trouble. He still got up, had the heart and fight of a champion, and beat Deontay Wilder. Man, what a fight. Man. I couldn't believe how epic of a battle this was.
It was an epic battle. Unfortunately, I only saw the highlights. I didn't see it in time. So at some point in time, I will be sitting down during this week and watching the fight myself. But yeah, by all accounts, epic fight, epic heavyweight battle. And it kind of went the way that the first one did, at least for Wilder, with early knockdowns and Fury. And so then you thought to yourself, oh my goodness, Wilder could get, but Fury is super tough. And he's able, I want to say this, he's literally the only boxer that has ever gotten up after a Wilder knockdown.
Yeah.
It's only him, and nobody else has ever done it.
Wilder has knocked down every single solitary opponent he's ever had, and Fury is the only one that's ever got up. And he's been knocked down 3 times by Wilder and got up every time. Yeah, super impressive performance. You mentioned a bit of a meme that you saw when we were talking pre-podcast. Tell our viewers and listeners about this funny meme that came out.
Well, basically, it's just a picture of Tyson Fury joining a pool party, and the meme just says, "This is the body of an alpha male, of a pinnacle athlete." And if you don't believe me, just ask him; he'll set you straight. And because it absolutely is, because you can't beat that guy in boxing. Oh, you definitely can't beat that guy in boxing.
No, 6'9", 277 pounds, coming in heavier every single fight. And I was impressed by the look of Deontay Wilder. I've never seen him so muscular. I've never seen him look in such great cardio shape. I thought this was going to be a big advantage for him. I thought he might be a lot faster and have that power as well. He looked really good early on, but that extra 40 pounds, a lot of the clinch work that Fury was putting on him, I think it really wore him down. Also, his trainer has divulged that he did break his hand at some point through the fight. He said he has a broken hand, broken finger or knuckle. He was pointing to a point on his finger. They threw out a huge amount of excuses after that second loss. I don't know. We're going to see what emerges from x-rays and different things, but is this just more sour grapes excuses why they lost?
Of course it is. Hey, come on, man. Sometimes as a fighter, yes, it stings when you take the loss, but there's certain ways to take a loss with grace. That is not taking the loss with grace. That's not taking the loss at all. That's just sour grapes as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it's a boxing match. You're going to get hurt. But is that the excuse of that's why you lost the fight? No, I think you lost the fight because the other guy was better than you. That's why you lost the fight.
Quite a bit of controversy as well at the end. Fury went over to try to shake his hand and hug him, saying, thanks for all these battles. And Wilder was having none of that. He sloughed off any kind of handshake, and he left in a really angry way. A lot of people said it was really poor sportsmanship on his part.
Because it is. It's just like, yeah, he was upset that he lost, and he wanted to vent. I get it.
Yeah.
He lost. And he lost a big match to the point that now it's going to affect his future earnings and his future opportunities. I get it. But at the same time, he still lost. So, you can take the fight. You can take the loss with grace, hug it out, and be like, okay, we're good. Each of us are moving on. Apparently, he's going to have a hard time moving on from this particular loss. That's Wilder.
So, Fury goes down as one of the greatest champions of all time. What is the legacy of Wilder at this point?
He's still one of the best heavyweights in the world, clearly. But now he has this foil, this man that he can't beat. He can't beat this guy. So I think he'll still have a great legacy that he'll leave behind. except for the one blip in the chart, so to speak, which was when he fought Tyson Fury and couldn't beat him.
Yeah. There was a lot of great talk about some of the notable heavyweight knockout artists. George Foreman and Ernie Shavers both had 68 knockouts in their career. Mike Tyson had 44 knockouts. Lennox Lewis had 32. Deontay Wilder has had 41 knockouts. 42 2-1 is his record, but has run up against an immovable force. If you look at their two bodies, you would think, Wilder has definitely the advantage here, but the superior boxer, the superior fighter is definitely Tyson Fury, and he cemented himself as that lineal champion. I see him fighting this Alexander Usyk, who is the WBA, IBF, and WBO champion after beating Anthony Joshua. Do you think that's next for Fury?
What a crazy fight. I think it should be next. Personally, yes. I look at Usyk and I think to myself, he'll definitely be disadvantaged in the size because he came up to fight Joshua from a lower weight division. And now he's literally going to fight, if they make that fight happen, the heaviest heavyweight boxer in the division. And so, yeah, they'll have to implement a sort of game plan so that they get away from Fury so he can't just lean on him the whole fight. Because then that's him carrying even more weight than Wilder had to carry against Fury. He'd have to even carry more of his weight throughout the course of the entire boxing fight.
Yeah, it's going to be super tough. Super tough. I was shocked that Anthony Joshua lost, because if he would have won, the super fight between Joshua and Fury might have been the biggest fight in the history of man.
Yeah, it would have been massive. Would have been huge. But now that's not happening. So instead, hopefully we get him and Usyk. And then maybe what Wilder's next opponent should be Anthony Joshua. You make that fight now.
Yeah. That would be great. I think it would be super massive still. There's only been really 3 notable lineal champions that were British born in the heavyweight division. Bob Fitzsimmons, that goes back to 1897 and 99. Lennox Lewis, who had it twice between 88 and 2001 and 2001 2004, and then Tyson Fury now. It's also an amazing card. I really recommend watching it all. I haven't seen a card that was just all heavyweights. Throughout the main card was all heavyweight fights. A lot of really talented top contenders, and I thought it was pretty smart of them to put on just a all heavyweight clash card.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, because we just don't get to see the heavyweights nearly as much as what we used to. So it's nice to when the big boys take center stage, and they stay in center stage.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so fun. I can't wait for you to watch it, and I can't wait to hear your takes on it after you have. It was really, really phenomenal. I loved it so much. After I got my boxing certification for refereeing and judging, and it was the course was conducted by Jack Reese, who was the referee in that first Fury Wilder fight. And Jack Reese has been asked hundreds of times now about how he didn't stop that first fight after he saw the big tree of Tyson Fury hit that canvas and have his eyes closed. By the time he reached his head, Fury opened his eyes and started looking around, and he decided to give him a shot at it. But 99% of the people on the planet, if they were in the ring at the time, would have just immediately waved off their arms and called it, just like it happened on Saturday night, because it was almost being called just as Wilder was hitting the canvas. He wasn't giving him any more standing counts. He was calling him out.
Yeah. He was calling him out. For that point in time, that was a good call out. But, the refs always have a hard time. I always have a hard time like trying to assess whether a fighter can continue or not. But we know this about Fury. He's a different kind of fighter altogether, because normal fighters, normal people, when they get a punch detonated on their skull like that, they don't wake up. They don't get up. Then nothing happens. But for him, instead, how he reacts is popping up like the Undertaker and getting back up like nothing happened, which is ridiculous in scope.
Yeah,
super tough,
incredible. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the UFC card. Not a super top ranked card, but a lot of great fights that ended up emerging from the UFC card. It was headlined by Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez. Decision victory. Really great battle. A clash of styles. The grappler versus the striker, and Rodriguez really emerged as a top contender.
Yeah. Rodriguez. Here's the thing with this particular fight. It was your classic grappler versus striker. Yeah. Literally, it was that classic, because once Dern was able to get Rodriguez to the ground, she dominated. Yeah. When Dern could not get her to the ground, Rodriguez dominated in the stand-up. And that was as clear-cut as day. That's the way the fight went. And as the fight went, I also noticed that Dern's endurance wasn't up to the same sort of par that Rodriguez's was. She got tired. And you could see that as she was getting tired, she was getting more and more sloppy with her entries in to try to take her down. And so Rodriguez was actually having an easier time circling out and keeping distance away from Dern. Great win by Rodriguez. I look forward to seeing who she fights next up the ladder till she gets her title shot. If she keeps winning, she's definitely going to get a title shot. Yeah.
Great takedown defense by her. That was definitely the key for her victory. And when she was keeping at distance, really phenomenal striker, really tough. And I loved her performance. It looks like they'll probably switch positions. Dern came in number 4 ranked, and Rodriguez was number 6. So probably they'll switch those positions. And she should be in a title shot picture with one more victory over a top opponent in that women's strawweight division. So it was a fun main event of the card. The co-main featured one of your favorite guys, Rude Boy Randy Brown, fellow Jamaican, against a tough Jared Gooden. Gooden had a lot of great strikes, but even though Randy had this crazy toe injury, he still overcame it and got the big victory.
Yeah, and he got that toe injury from the first front kick that he delivered to Jared Gooden's chin, dislocating the toe, and then he had to deal with that for the remainder of the fight. So good on him to stay focused and win the fight. And also, too, Brown's striking probably the best I've seen thus far in his career. His striking was ridiculously on point. He dealt with the leg kicks well that Gooden was throwing to him, because they were damaging. They were limiting his mobility, but he was still able to get the more significant strikes in this fight, because he hurt Gooden numerous times throughout the course of this fight as the fight went on.
Yeah. He ended up with a career best strikes. He was a little mad at Gooden because Gooden missed weight by 3 pounds. He said he was really pretty frustrated with that. And but the biggest thing that he wanted to talk about after was that his father was being able to see him live for the first time. It's the first time they were actually able to see each other recently, because his father was incarcerated from when he was 3 years old all the way to now. So that was very emotional for him, and really good for that family to be reunited like this.
Yeah, and it was cool that he had the opportunity to see his son finally fight. on the biggest stage in the UFC. So proud moment for Dad.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, no, I was impressed. Even when you have a dislocated toe, often it looked like he was taking his other foot and sort of smoothing it out so it would go back into position. That's got to be distracting while you're trying to fight another guy.
Yeah, because you feel that, now my toes popped out, so let me just try to fiddle with it with my other foot as I'm fighting a guy. Yeah, always fun. Yeah, I love the fight game.
Yeah. Okay, the flyweight fight between Matthias Nicolau and Tim Elliott was a great battle. Elliott is a veteran of this sport and has been around forever. With his first takedown, he became the 24th fighter in UFC history with 50 plus takedowns. He won that first round pretty handily, but then looked like he lost those next 2 rounds on the judges' scorecards. Nicolau now has a 4-fight win streak. He made some adjustments, he said, between that first and second round and was able to be the better fighter going forward.
Yeah, it was pretty clear because in the first round, when you fight a Tim Elliott, you got to get used to that movement. It's weird. It doesn't even make sense the way that he attacks you. It's just all very off-putting. It feels like the timing is off. So it took him around to figure out the man's timing. And then once he did in the second and third rounds, all of a sudden his counters were exceedingly crisp against Tim Elliott. And he was attacking the body more because Tim Elliott actually has great head movement, hard to hit his head. So he just kept attacking the body. Very smart and cerebral approach by Nicolau as he went into the second and third rounds.
Yeah, Elliott's movement is so awkward and weird. It would be very difficult to prepare for a guy like that and fight a guy, but amazing that he was able to make those adjustments in between rounds. That's, what the coaches are usually yelling at them for, what the announcers are, fans are, hey, what change your approach? What are you doing? And quite often you're left frustrated because the guy doesn't, but great to see that a guy has that much ability to completely change the game plan after 1 round.
Yeah, and he's to see that he's actually that good, that he can actually do that, that he can see through all the weird movement that Tim Elliott does and know where he can actually start to pick his spots where he can try to attack the man.
We talked about the change in rankings, the switch from Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez, 6-4. This one should go from 11-9. Tim Elliott coming in at 9. Nicolau coming in at 11. I think Nicolau will enter that top 10 now, and Tim Elliott will drop down a little bit. The women's flyweight fight between Maria Agapova and Sabina Mazo finally ended in an early submission in the third round. Agapova is just so quick. Like, once she got that knockdown, I couldn't believe how quick she just jumped over and put that rear naked choke on, and it was just over, tap, like just woof, jumping on like a fat kid on a Smartie. It was just like boom, 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 done. It was incredible.
It was fast. It was killer instinct. Definitely jumped in there on her for that particular finish, because once she rocked her with that overhand right, and that was a huge right hand that she rocked her with, and didn't try to ground and pound or anything, just immediately went for the rear naked choke for the finish, locked it up, all she wrote. Her stand-up looked amazing throughout the course of this fight. Her distance management was spot on. She was in and out. She struck Mazo and didn't get struck as she was exiting. It was perfect. Great win by Agapova.
It was incredible. And we've got the 50K bonus for Agapova. And then we've got Rodriguez and Dern got 50K also for the fight of the night. And we've got a Vancouver girl, Lupita Godinez, also got a 50K performance of the night. We'll talk about her fight in a second. All women getting the bonuses on this card.
Yeah, it was good to see. It's good to see. This is one of those rare cards where a lot of the female fighters were more highlighted for this particular fight night. So it was good to see that the ladies putting in work and getting those bonuses.
Okay, the opening fight on the main card had a bantamweight battle between Chris Gutierrez and Felipe Colares. Really amazing performance by Gutierrez and getting a huge victory there. El Guapo really just was able to use really good lateral movement and stopping Colares from getting the takedowns that he was looking for. I thought Gutierrez was just one of the best movers I've seen in a long time, just able to stay out of any harm's way.
Yeah, he was able to do that. His takedown defense was excellent. And his two main weapons were the jab and the leg kick to the calf. And he utilized those two things to extreme effectiveness. He was definitely the more efficient striker out of the two. Colares threw out volume, but he wasn't efficient with his striking, whereas Gutierrez threw what he knew he would land. And that was the difference, I thought, in the fight.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's just such a good counter striker, amazing movement. Those calf kicks are lethal. Some of the best calf kicks in the game. He has a 6-fight unbeaten streak now out of Factory X. He pointed out his coaches after and was very emotional and said that they have actually saved his life once he joined this team and started on this path. He was lauding his coach Mark and just saying, like, thank you so much for saving my life and enabling me to have this great life that I'm leading right now.
Yeah, it's cool to see the fighters pay it back to the coaches that are so important to them, so important to their development in the sport, and then it's so important for them just growing up and being the person who they were striving to be in the first place, to be the best that they can be.
Yeah. Okay. On the featured fight of the prelims had Alexander Romanov, just proving that he is one of the best heavyweight fighters on the planet, continuing his unbeaten streak, getting the knockout victory. This guy's a big boy, but can really, really move. King Kong, the wrecking machine, just wow, just super dynamic guy.
And once he locks onto you, he's just going to keep throwing you around like a rag doll. And that's what he did to Bandera.
Yeah.
Just chained him to takedown after takedown after takedown till finally got on top of him, round and pounded him out for the win. But it was an utter domination of Romanov against Bandera. Bandera really didn't have a chance at any point in time in this fight.
Yeah. He has ended all his fights really early. His longest fight ever was 12 minutes and 17 seconds. This one didn't even make 10 minutes. Relentless ground and pound, and just showed his superiority. Bandera is a big boy. He had to cut down in weight to make weight, and he still just threw him around like he was nothing. It was he is one strong, incredibly strong guy.
Yeah, he's strong like a bull. Like, that guy is super strong, and he is able to toss Bandera around like a sack of potatoes. Yeah. So, and that's a pretty heavy sack of potatoes.
He has a 4-fight winning streak. The only 3 fighters that have a longer active winning streak in the heavyweight division are Marcin Tybura, Francis Ngannou, and Cyril Gane, who's the champ. Tom Aspinall and Chris Daukaus also have 4-fight win streaks in that heavyweight division. So pretty impressive. He's starting to make his way onto main card soon. Romanov, I think he'll start seeing some really tough opponents now. Yeah, wow. He definitely did not disappoint his fans there. This fight between Charles Rosa and Damon Jackson, the Leech, was a phenomenal battle. I thought great featherweight fight. These two are really talented, very quick, and it was great. I couldn't believe the blood that was pouring out of Damon Jackson's face when he got that cut from that up elbow. A great strike that was thrown, and it was surprising that it lasted the whole entire 3 rounds, because more blood was pouring out of his forehead than I don't even know what to say. Like, whoa, the blood was just gushing out of there.
Yeah, it was like a lake of blood. It really was. Like it went, especially when they were sliding in it. And I was just like, oh, wow, that's a geyser. That's a geyser. And there was always the chance of it stopping because of how much blood was coming out of the cut. But when you saw it, actually, when there was a stop in the action, you saw the cut. It actually didn't look that bad.
Right.
It actually didn't look that bad. But regardless, Jackson wins, and he wins off of his superior grappling.
Yeah.
That's what got him the win. Rosa found it very hard to get out from underneath Jackson, because once he got underneath Jackson, he usually stayed there for the round. So great win by Jackson, even with him bleeding a lake of blood to get the victory.
Yeah, you thought he was going to gas out, and he was able to keep at it. He actually got cut from the UFC, and he was back on the regional circuit for 4.5 years, was able to get an 8-2 record and with 7 finishes when he was on the local circuit around Oklahoma and Texas. He's so happy that he's back in the UFC. He just thanked all the brass and all the people involved in the UFC for giving him that opportunity again. He's got 4 little girls and a wife, and he definitely has a lot of mouths to feed, trying to cash in some bigger paychecks than he was making regionally.
Yeah. Well, for a man like that, getting to the UFC is life altering. So hopefully this time around he can stick for quite some time.
Yeah. Okay. Lupita Godinez faced Silvana Gomez Juarez. Lupita is a local girl from here. She fights out of Titan MMA in Coquitlam. She grew up in Mexico and then moved to Vancouver area a few years ago, and looked phenomenal. Got $50K for her incredible submission win. 6-1 in the UFC, and looking strong.
Oh no, she looked great in this particular fight. What she looked like to me was she looked like she was the bully in this particular fight. When she got her arms around Gomez Juarez wasn't going anywhere. Godinez was clearly the superior grappler in this fight. And unfortunately for Gomez Juarez, she made a mistake. Once Godinez had her back, she should have rolled to her right instead of to her left, where Godinez was locking up for a potential arm bar. If she had rolled that way, which she did, so she basically rolled right into an arm bar.
Yeah,
and then that was it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, she was very emotional talking about her coach. Her coach thought he was unable to make it. His father has really had some bad health concerns that the family is tending to and fighting for his life. I understand. Her coach finally decided he was going to do it. He spent less than 24 hours in Vegas, coming there, helping her get that win. She was in tears, thanking him so much. His name is Nabil Salame. Really, really, really courageous for him to go and help his student and help her get this win and make it back in time to deal with his father.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome that he was willing to sacrifice that much for her, and she obviously truly realizes that and cares about it. So good on him to be able to do that and then take care of his personal affairs.
Yeah. We wish the best. I'm going to contact Titan MMA this coming week and see if I can get Lupita on for a podcast. It'd be really great to talk to her. She's emerging up the ranks in that women's strawweight division. Yeah,
and she's good. She's really good, and she's strong for the division. Very, very strong.
You're right. Yeah, she sure is. Yeah. The fight that started the festivities, Steve Garcia, he got rocked on 3 occasions. He got knocked down. He was in big trouble. But once he got the fight to the ground, he just dominated with ground and pound and was able to get the forced stoppage. Got the knockout victory halfway through the second round. I couldn't believe how many times he got rocked and hit the canvas, but he got up and went for the takedowns and got him and finally got the win.
That just goes to show what a vet needs to do sometimes when plan A doesn't go to form. Yeah. So there's a plan B. He was getting lit up on his feet. So he decided to take it to the ground and then take control of the fight through that. He was able to do that, and his ground and pound, especially the elbows that he was delivering, vicious. Yeah. Vicious stuff.
So vicious. And
got the stoppage in the second round for the TKO win.
Yeah. Okay, well, great card. Great to cover it. We've got another card earlier start on next Saturday at the Apex as well. Also, females highlighting and headlining. Aspen Ladd and Norma Dumont are the main event next weekend. Aspen Ladd was kicked out of a fight a couple weeks ago because she couldn't make weight. She's given an opportunity here now. What do you think we're going to see in this one?
Hopefully we see her make weight so we can have a fight. So yeah, hopefully that happens. But I expect a good tilt between the two ladies here. Nice. Coming, and I expect a really good fight. And also too, I expect Aspen Ladd to be coming out like guns blazing, because she was, somewhat embarrassed by the fact that she didn't make weight for her last fight.
Yeah. We've got the veteran Andrei Arlovsky fighting Carlos Felipe, who comes in 11-1. Should be an amazing battle between Julian Marquez and Jordan Wright. I think that's shaping up to be the fight of the night, and I can't wait for those two guys to go to battle.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I believe that those two will be the fight of the night. I think that's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be one heck of a fight between those two.
Yeah, so always great to look ahead and look behind at some great UFC action. Let's finish this off with a couple of NBA notes. The Raptors' Khem Birch just announced that himself, his wife, and his daughter have all tested positive for COVID. It just came out a few hours ago. Hope the best for them. It's sad when you hear about little ones even getting it.
Yeah, but luckily, when the kids get it, it's not as serious as what it can be for an adult. So hopefully for the family, they get over their COVID very quickly and they get back to being healthy people.
Yeah. Ben Simmons is reportedly really in heavy talks to return to the Sixers. Do you think we see him back there very soon?
Surprised, to be honest with you. I thought he was putting his feet down and he was not going to move on that, but possibly. I don't think he, no, I think it's still going to take a couple more weeks of negotiation before he does decide to join the team. But I'm interested to see how the team receives him once he does come back.
Mentioning the Raptors, really good video of Nick Nurse, Raptors coach, giving out 100 meals to Toronto families on Thanksgiving. I'll post that on the website. And then about COVID, we talked about Khem Birch getting it. Andrew Wiggins relented and got his COVID shots and now can play. But Kyrie Irving is standing pat and saying he's not getting them. And so now Steve Nash has come out and said that the Nets realize that Kyrie will not be playing any home games this year, and they'll have to just shuffle him into certain road games that they can play. Pretty tough on Nash and this whole entire team, having your one of your main shooting guards not in there and not able to play any home games.
Yeah, yeah, it really puts the organization in a spot because, well, what do you do? Like even if you look at trading him, well, would that team be like, well, great, so I can only have him for half the season? Like, like I don't know if I want to deal with that. Like if I'm another GM for another team, I'd be like, I'm pretty sure I don't want to deal with any of that. You guys can keep me. I'm good. So
Yeah.
it sucks, and also too for the mere fact that Kyrie Irving is not Andrew Wiggins. You're not going to talk that guy into doing anything. So if he says he's not going to do it, he is never going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's definitely putting the Nets in some tough light. Being actually favorite to win it all. Lakers have now sort of surpassed them as the favorite, but yeah, it's tough. He convinced Kevin Durant to go there. He convinced James Harden to go there. Many veterans to get that roster to the point of being a title contender, and now he's not willing to bend his rules and play. It's crazy that this could drag on for a long time, and this is really hampering their ability to get a championship this year.
Well, of course, if one of your best players simply goes, yeah, I'm good. I'll just play road games, kind of. And then because even if you make the playoffs, well, you still don't have that guy for any of your home games in the playoffs. It's not the greatest situation for the Nets.
No.
Not the greatest situation.
Not at all. No. Well, okay, man. Well, this was a blast. Thanks for doing this early. I can't thank you enough. And I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner tonight. And in about 24 hours from now, we're going to be having lunch together on set, working again. And this is amazing. A long time coming. We sure enjoyed ourselves before when we worked together in film industry. And here it comes again. We're back. This is going to be a blast.
Yeah, dynamic duo is back again. Back, yes. It's gonna be fun, man. I look forward to seeing you obviously tomorrow and seeing the rest of the guys. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, enjoy your afternoon. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Okay,
see you later.
Cheers. Bye for now. Okay. Wow. Yeah, less than 24 hours from now. We're going to be back working together as colleagues. This has been a great almost year and a half that him and I have been doing this. And it's so great to get an opportunity to talk sports with them every Monday. But now we're going to be able to do it 5 days a week in person. And it's going to be a blast. One of the greatest humans on the planet, one of my favorite people. And as you can see, super great guy. And thanks so much for tuning in. As always, appreciate your support. Tell your friends, tell your family. And speaking of support, let's support our partners and sponsors. We've got Anchor FM, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to Anchor FM and you can do what Jason and I just did. It's a lot of fun. We've got Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. The V350 stick is something you need to get in your hands. Pampas and Possibilities, of course, they do installations in your home from really West Coast amazing things. And then Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. So thanks as always. Appreciate your support, and go to our website, completemedianetwork.com or completesportsmedia.com, and support them. Check out our content. New things emerging every day. We've got great stuff. So love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.